welcome to an amazing episode of Crush Your Mountain Personal Growth. I have with me another incredible guest. Now, let me tell you this. You know, I love to talk about bringing on beautiful people, beautiful souls, and this is no exception. I have with me an incredible young woman who is not just super intelligent, super smart, super spirited, but absolutely gorgeous. And I'll tell you about that part towards the end of our introduction. Let me just tell you a little bit about Miss Viral Trivedi, who is an entrepreneur, marketing strategist, fashion model, and passionate for women's empowerment and equality. Born in Gujarat, India, Viral experienced many hardships, including health issues, yet her spirit and her attitude always propelled her forward. From the early days of her entrepreneurial journey, she's nurtured a burning passion for changing individuals in the digital landscape, making change in the digital landscape. As a proud owner of Neeva Digital, and we've got to ask her about that name, Neeva, her digital marketing agency, she has been instrumental in guiding businesses towards success in the fast-paced world of online marketing. She's witnessed the transformation of countless brands and entrepreneurs, empowering them to achieve their dreams. But her drive to make a difference extends even further, okay? She goes into a number of different things, and one of those things, Trivedi is the founder of BrightLife NC, a nonprofit organization, okay, that stands firmly committed to empowering, educating, and inspiring the community. Through this incredible initiative, she believes that together we can create a brighter future. And people need hope. People need to understand that there's something ahead, and there is, by the way. But here's something amazing about her. We talked a little bit about beauty. In 2020, she became Mrs. Lively, North Carolina. In 2021, she became Mrs. India, North Carolina, okay? And then in 2022, just last year, she became Mrs. Earth Raleigh, adding to her amazing story, and again, showing that beauty is manifested both from the mind to the spirit, to the body. We're so happy to have her with us today, and we're going to bring her on right at this moment. Miss Viral Trivedi, welcome to Crush Your Mountain Personal Growth.
Thank you. That is such an incredible introduction. Thank you so very much. It's absolute pleasure to be here.
Yeah, absolutely. So I have to say in Hindi because I've been practicing this all day. Pranam. And just welcome. We're so happy to meet you. So we're glad
Thank
to have
you.
you.
Namaste, Pranam.
Namaste. You know, so tell us, tell us a little bit about Gujarat. Now, I've run into a number of individuals. And here, for those of you that don't know this, friends, India has hundreds of languages and various cultures. And Gujarati is one of them. And
Right.
to me, listening to the way the language goes, Gujarati has a flow and texture very much like French, although it's different from French.
Right.
The flow and texture is very, very interesting. But tell us about your time and your life there in Gujarat, India, and then how you were able to transition here to the United States.
So, Henry, I'm actually born, and my most of the education is actually in India. And coming to the States, it sounds a little different, but common in where I come from, it's arranged marriage. My husband was here and he came to find a bride for himself. Probably he couldn't find anyone here. So he listened to his mom, came to India, I found me, and rest is the history. This Saturday, June 3rd, we will celebrate 12 years of our wedding anniversary. So, coming about my state, yes, I'm very proud because Gujarati is very lyrical language. And a little bit about my lifestyle. I come from a very forward family. I know India is known as a conservative country, more as India, western part where my state is, Gujarat, Rajasthan. Those are really considered very cultured and conservative family. And my family is actually a little different. They are a little forward. My grandparents, actually great grandparents, were teachers. My grandparents were teachers, and that it's a time when girls used to get married at age of 6, 7, 9. People used to talk like, what's the need of studies? And during that time, my grandmother performed masters. My aunt performed masters. So everyone in my side of a family were having master's degrees at least. So I come from that kind of a forward family. And the other thing is, if you know my name, it's Viral, which is actually boy's name. Viral is not girl's name, it's a boy's name. And back then, there used to be a lot of girl homicides. If they know the mother is going to deliver a girl child, they would actually kill child in the womb. Huge abortion rates only because of that. So now they have made it illegal. But my parents took a decision to bring me to the world. So as my sister, gave both of us boys' names. And guess what? They made sure we are highly educated and we can do whatever we want in the conservative society. So I come from a very forward kind of a family, and I studied in Gujarati medium in school all the way till college.
Wow. You know, I'll tell you what's amazing about that story. See, I know several individuals, and I had a friend years and years and years ago. Her name her name was Sarita. And
Okay.
Sarita, we worked together, and she was 29 at the time. And as we talked, she was talking, and she says, yes, my husband and I, we've been married for 20 years. I'm like, okay, so 9 years old, you know, and,
Yeah.
yes, the culture was that way, and is that way. And in some parts of India, in the rurals, they still do that. And I think the thing with India as a whole, and this is why I really wanted you to have you with us today, a lot of Americans aren't aware of how oftentimes women are maltreated here in India. Even though you have some of the greatest stars coming from India, and we even have a couple of stars, a few stars here in the States that are on American TV that are originally from India. We don't realize the challenge that women go through every day. And this is in every country, but it became a thing to hear about the mango tree and how women end up there, unfortunately, poor girls. And so hearing you, knowing that your parents had that forward thinking, were able to look and see you, and then gave you boys' names, maybe to fool some people, I don't know, but gave you boys' names and gave you the education. That in itself is amazing. That was very supportive of you to have that mindset, because again, the conservative concept was girls stayed home, girls stayed in the kitchens, or girls gave the babies and sent them off and took care of the husband. So having the value and understanding the value of a woman is very powerful indeed. I find that interesting because there's so many female deities there, and yet it's not thought that women can be powerful and as powerful as men.
Yes. Well, I certainly agree, because my mom was homemaker for most completely of her life. She actually devoted her life into upbringing us, taking care of my father. Though I come from this kind of a family, my father had a traveling job. So my mom was homemaker by choice.
Right.
But yes, it does happen, and homemakers are the first people to be taken for granted in India.
Mhm.
It's like, what do? You are just sitting at home. Can't you cook? What do? You're just sitting at home. Can't you just press some clothes? Can't you run some errands? It's like they work 24 by 7 with no holidays and everything, still no appreciation. And till date, as we speak, I have seen some of my close family members doing that. Like a small example, when my daughter was born, my husband took over some responsibility, right? Like, here it's a shared life. Sometimes you take turns waking up at night, sometimes you take turns in kitchen, sometimes you take turn in even changing diapers, reading bedtime stories, everything. My cousin visited me when my daughter was like, what, 12 months, and his daughter was 15 months, and the child had a dirty diaper.
Mm.
Guess what he did? He held the child from the shoulder, roamed around the whole house looking for his wife, spent like 10 minutes, and said, can you please change the diaper? She's thinking.
Wow.
So it's not only the society where women are stuck,
Mm.
women are actually stuck within themselves. In India, it's not a problem of having women being stuck these days. The real problem is women are actually stuck within themselves. They feel that peer pressure that if I do not take care of my husband, if I do not take care of my child, if I do not take care of my household, that is a thought process always haunting them because they have seen their mothers, grandmothers, even great grandmothers performing all this duty. So if they do not perform, they have this guilt trip. And if they do not go on that guilt trip, people are there, ample people are there to put them on their guilt trip. And guess what happens after that? They keep getting trapped within themselves. So that's the real reason, by the way.
That's not uncommon or around the world to say in a lot of Latin American countries. It's very much the same. The man is a king of the house and he just sits there and let the woman clean up and everything else. Or in Japan, it's very much the same way. you know but you yourself, you escaped that mentality by means of some forward thinking parents, and then you came here. But I understand that you also went through some health issues that got in the way. Could you talk a little bit about that?
So if you see my right under my right eye, I have a huge scar. It was a vitiligo. And my father had a whole body as a vitiligo, so they were assuming it is genetic. I had it at the age of 4, and I lived with it until 8th grade. After that, we had to do skin grafting.
So vertiligo
So,
is what we call it here.
yes, now you understand English is my third language. So,
Don't worry, I'm not that great in Hindi. I know a few Bollywood songs, but I'm not that great in Hindi.
see, that's why I love about this country because everyone is welcome with open arms. Everyone is welcome with lots of love. So, yes, growing up with vitiligo, it's like I have always been on medication to get that small spot removed from my face because everyone was like, oh, she looks beautiful, but she has that spot. So my identity was that spot. And I always often used to get depressed about it because my parents sent me the best school possible. Until certain life, I was the first in almost topper in everything. But always the attention was going to that small spot. So that was one of the beginning of a health issue, but rest bigger health issues I fought when I came to this country post marriage. And when I came here, of course it's a huge cultural shock, right? You're coming from one country to a different country, that too you're coming from a conservative society to a completely free society. And the transition in my brain took a little longer than expected time. Guess what happened? I was I was in the party and my face got swollen. So friend of mine booked an appointment. Cut to 10 days later, my doctor said, I need to see you right now. So I was rushing to the hospital. I saw the signal yellow. I saw the signal yellow. After that, I went blind. I hit the brake, but I hit another car too.
Oh,
And I was in a massive car accident. God's grace, I was saved, but I was in a massive car accident. And I do not mind sharing my results because my thyroid level back then, um, if you see any women body, your thyroid level to be in a normal place should be somewhere between 2.5 to 3. Do you want to guess what was my thyroid level?
tell me.
319.20.
Oh my goodness.
I was very,
So
very, very close to get sleep into coma.
yeah. So your thyroid was pretty much out of control.
Yes,
And that very well could have been the source of other issues in your body.
yes. So you remember I had my medications for vitiligo? So
Right.
because my parents were huge believer of Ayurvedic medicines,
Hmm.
I was on a lot of food restrictions. Like I did not taste chocolate until my 8th grade.
Really?
No onion and garlic until I graduated my high school. I even, to your surprise, I did not eat salt for more than a year. I was on those strict medicine. So I was anemic because I was not getting enough things. I lived with that. And when I came here, I got a thyroid. And that was, so living back in India, I never knew what is thyroid and what causes it. So they said stress, but guess what? In India, mental illness doesn't exist.
Right.
You say you are depressed. Oh, that's okay. What's going on? They don't ask what caused depression. They ask, oh, you're depressed? Come on. What's that? We don't get into depression. What is stressed? What are you talking about? Everyone goes through a lot of work. There is no stress. So it was hard to explain to myself what I'm going through. And within 15 days, I gained more than 50 pounds.
Wow.
And I developed, my gums were bleeding. My eyes were so heavy that I couldn't even look at the floor. Vertigo, that's a word, vertigo. Like you can't even close your eyes properly because they are hurting so much. That was a level when my thyroid was diagnosed. And from then, life took a spin. Suddenly, I had to quit salt, green diet, intermittent fasting. Everything entered my life overnight. And my doctor gave me 3 advices, which I'm following till today: 16 to 18 hours intermittent fasting, absolutely no frozen food, including even I'm not allowed to have processed milk because that shoots my levels. And the third rule: intermittent fasting, no frozen food, and not a single dish I have eaten since 2014 which has more than 5 ingredients other than spices. And to my surprise, it really changed my life
Wow.
completely.
So this was through the Ayurvedic tradition, right?
I'm sorry, sir.
This is all through the Ayurvedic tradition.
So this all, yes, through Ayurvedic thing. Earlier, I used to take some medication, but here I hired a physician who is from India, who knows Ayurvedic, and he also knows, because of course Ayurvedic works slowly, very slowly and gradually, but it
Uh-oh, I think you froze up a bit. We're frozen. So it looks like we may have lost her. This is an absolute first on Crusher Mountain where we just lost the signal. And here's the irony. Oh, she's back. She's back. But
Yes.
but
So
go
when
ahead.
I was telling, like, because I was gaining weight by pounds every hour, or every 2 3 hour, I guess, because 55 pounds in 15 days is too much for me. um I was really, I needed a doctor who understands my roots. So I went to this doctor who put me directly into nutritionist values. And he gave me some Ayurvedic ways, like early morning, you drink hot water with lemon. And every 2 hours, you drink hot water, 1 cup. So he gave me some Ayurvedic ways, like drinking water with turmeric.
Hmm,
So I actually had a help, which is blend of both, best of both worlds.
hmm.
Yes.
So in all of that, this must have really cramped your style and made it kind of difficult for you to look after the kids and take care of the husband and take care of the job and all that. You're still you're at that all during this time. You were you dealing with all of that as well?
Well, I was not pregnant at all. I delivered my child in 2017. So back then, luckily, I did not have kid, but I had my, I know, in-laws to take care. I'm the first one from my whole entire family to be here in this country, so I had no family support.
Hmm,
From my side of a family. Of course, my in-laws were amazing. My husband was very supportive. Like the massive accident I mentioned, I called and I was like, I met with an accident. His first question was, "Are you okay?" I was like, "The car is broken." He said, "I don't care." So, and I was like, "But I will still drive the newest car in the house." He's like, "Okay." So he is one of those person who absolutely loves me a lot. So his motto of life is wife is always right. So
well, well, there is truth in that. That's why you go with a woman's intuition, right?
true.
So now, at what point were you motivated to start your first business? I mean, you're doing three things. You're a Medicare consultant, and then you have two
Yes.
businesses on the side. First, what motivated you to move into your first business?
That is actually very shocking story. And so I have been very outgoing person all the way from the beginning. And I was volunteering at one of the institution in November of 2020. I lost my father. And when I came, of course, I went to India to support my family. But when I came back, I personally did not want to go back to workforce because I wanted to have time to myself. Like everyone takes a little time in getting back to life. And I decided to pick a small company's job in the media industry, whom I knew for last 7 years, and I felt like that's my friend and would understand. I'll get my monthly bill worth of money, and I can slowly and gradually come back to my complete strength. Couple of and he was operating his business out of his house, had a full-time job. Couple of months later, we closed a big deal, and he's like, we should celebrate with the drink. It's like, I don't drink. Oh, you should try for me. And I was like, let's try. What's wrong in try? I tried. I did not know what was in the drink. Next thing I know, some unpleasant incidences. And when I confronted him, I was like, look, I'm married. and I love my husband the most. How could you even think of all these things? And answer I was given is, you don't know your complete potential. So it's not only me, all the men in the world will try to do what I try to do with you. So
Well,
I,
oh
oh,
yeah,
oh yes.
yeah, I'm shocked. Listen, that touches me tremendously because
Mm-hmm,
of course, in me, I've been married for 30 years. I've got 6 grandchildren.
mm-hmm.
Okay, all of them girls,
Oh wow.
and the oldest one just came through a situation where the manager tried to put the moves on her, and she's only 15.
Yeah.
You see, so that really touches me tremendously. I understand that, and I
Right.
tell you, it's you know, you know, no matter how beautiful someone is, okay, there are
There is a lot
boundaries.
to it. You look beautiful. It doesn't mean that you are approachable.
It
You
doesn't mean you're available.
exactly, exactly.
And
That's a
even if
better
you are
word. That
available,
doesn't mean you're available.
and
Yes.
even if you are available, no means no, right?
Yeah. So that moment, of course, I was broke because you remember I did not work at my full strength because I was mourning. What I did is I requested my husband to take a mortgage on my paid up property. Now, and how we learn in our MBA school, sat down and did a SWOT analysis. And let's sit down what are my strengths, what are my weakness, what I can do, what people have taken advantage of. And everything came back to only one thing, that all the time when I give out ideas and marketings and everything has made millions to people. By the time our loan got approved, I was like, okay, I need to do something. But I don't, I need to keep my employment because bills need to be paid. I don't want to go back there. What do I do? I had money in my account. I rented an office first and started looking for businesses and came across digital marketing business because my ideas were working for people. I'm good in marketing. I'm in sales since age of 18. And that had a calling for me. I was like, wow, this is pandemic proof business. Everyone needs marketing. You live in future. So I contacted one company. They were sending a whole package for $15,000.
Mm.
I had money in my account. I was like, where to sign? So everyone first opens a business and then opens an office. For me, I opened an office and then registered a business.
Wow. That's cool.
So that's how my first business started.
Mhm.
I started taking some online classes. Again, I was very strong in traditional marketing, and digital marketing is pretty new, so I could close that bridge for people. Now I was in an event where I had a very inspirational person whom I'm trying to meet for the last 5 years, and I saw him in this event, and his accountant and my accountant are same people. So
Mm.
I rushed to my accountant and I was like, hey, you know what? I want to sit down with this guy. I want to learn his life. I want to learn from his life lessons. And I just want 5 minutes of his. And this is, I don't know, this is a weird obsession of mine. If I follow someone, I want to do a handshake with them to feel their energy. I want to see how they eat. I want to see how they drink their water. And I want to see how they behave with anyone around them. I don't talk to them, but this is the only thing I want to observe. So I explained this to my accountant. He said, you know what? You just started your business. Let me help you to build that bridge to talk to him. He is proud Indian person and he would do anything for something related to India. And icing on the cake is if you can really show him return on investment, because he just spent $1.7 million with some company in India with zero ROI. And that was a radio station. And I was like, oh, wow. I said, you know what? I don't want to meet him today. Give me 2 days and please fix my appointment with him.